Welcome back to The New Health, and today we have with us Adam Lane-Smith, the attachment specialist. Thank you so much for being back again with us, Adam.
Thank you for having me.
So today, I know we had a lot of questions. We have a lot of people that are in the business sector that watch our show, and so we've had some questions come across about business and attachment style and some concerns about bosses, how they present. So Adam, we thought that might be a great topic to talk about today, attachment in business.
I would love that. I'm glad that you guys asked these questions because attachment does directly correlate straight into your business. I have a lot of C-suite executives who come into me. I have a lot of business owners. They own a $100 million business, but they're on their third marriage. It's not going well. They've got a $9 million prenup and they need to make things work. But even at work, they're having trouble building loyalty in their team. They're having trouble building connections with other C-suite executives. They've reached the top and they have nowhere to go, and they're watching their relationships disintegrate.
Well, I'm sure everybody is aware. Everybody knows at least someone that has been in that position or maybe in that position themselves. So how do we help these people that are in these businesses with their attachments?
Yeah, so I usually begin with my coaching clients by helping them understand what has avoidant attachment done to get you to the place you are. So avoidant attachment style is a survival mechanism that clicks on during bad environments when no one's going to help you. So what do you do when nobody helps you? Well, you begin working hard, you gather resources, you learn the rules, you play by the rules, you bend them as much as you can, you climb up and up and up, and status keeps you safe and resources keep you safe. This sounds cold and detached, and it's not. What I mean is you start climbing, you start advancing, you start growing, you become top of your field, you are driven, you are high performance. The high levels of cortisol in your brain block most bonding, but that prevents you from getting distracted. You are able to work 12, 15-hour work days for years on end, and other people say, how are you doing that? And you say, why are you not doing this? This is the way to win. And so you grow and you climb and you reach that upper level. And once you hit the top of that mountain, you look and it's just empty and there's nothing there. You now have to live on top of a windswept mountain alone, just staying there. And you realize that other people are only loyal to their paycheck. Your team is not really loyal to you because you haven't formed those bonds. You don't really know how to connect in a sustainable way with the other C-suite executives at the top, or your board maybe. Your board members don't really know how to connect with you. There's no trust there. It's now an endless politicking at the top over and over and over. Everybody else forms cliques. Everybody else seems to bond without you. You can't really get somebody to mentor under you. You can't form a successor properly. You're wondering, what is the end game? What have I done this for? Is it just going to be this for the next 20 or 30 years? That's the problem, is the second half of your career, the second half of your life. That is the issue. How do I stay at the top once I get there? Otherwise, you fall all the way back down.
So I see two things here with this. One is how do you stay at the top, but the other is, with building culture and community in your corporation,
yes,
but then also in your home.
Absolutely. Well, and there's a whole problem of if you're avoidant and at the top and a leader, now you have a complete army of young people marching into your offices right now who are overwhelmed with their feelings, and you're going to have a very hard time connecting with them, building that corporate culture, really bringing them into the team. It's going to feel exhausting and overwhelming figuring out how to try to integrate everybody's feelings. So you need to understand how attachment and human bonding is supposed to work so that you can properly build that into your corporation. The U.S. military does this fantastically. They have to integrate everybody's feelings in or disregard those feelings, but not necessarily, not shut people down. What you need to do is foster a transparent and more secure connection in your business relationships. What that means is understanding what people need from you, understanding what reciprocal relationships look like, understanding the level of context you are supposed to be sharing, understanding even how to go to somebody successfully with a problem and not sound like you're complaining or weak, but to get a solution and build a collaborative solution together so you can vasopressin bond at the top. Your bonding with other executives or with your board members will be vasopressin bonding instead, but that's by solving problems together. And most avoidant people up at the top, they don't know how to open up about problems, so they solve them alone, silently, in the dark, and they never vasopressin bond with anyone. This is why no one trusts you, and it's why you don't trust anyone else.
Now, do you find that these corporate leaders that are in this space find that this is a waste of their time?
They feel like it's going to be. And I can't fault them for that, because it feels like endless emotions and goal moving and just being drowned in other people's feelings, which is going to bring down numbers, bring down productivity. It's going to be endless wasted resources. And if that's the case, you are doing it completely wrong. What you need to do is initiate proper oxytocin and vasopressin bonding within your company. I guide a lot of executives to do this, and their productivity numbers actually go up, because everybody now is fulfilled and bonded, so they feel connected. It prevents that massive turnover rate, that revolving door of people coming and going, but it also improves people's loyalty to you as their leader. They actually see you as a leader instead of as somebody who's managing them and giving them a paycheck. So then when they get that sweet offer from another company, you don't lose your best talent, because they say, no, this is my guy, this is my leader. I follow this person because of these things. And they don't say, oh yeah, a paycheck is a paycheck. If you want that loyalty from your best talent, you have to build proper bonding, or your company will go under.
Well, we know that we're seeing so much of an issue with corporate leaders retaining that talent. So where would you recommend people start if they needed a starting point to be able to start moving into this space?
Yeah, so give yourself a quick check. Do you often accidentally hurt people's feelings and not know how to make it better? Do you struggle with understanding how to properly bond someone to you? Not with dopamine and quick little rewards here and there where you have to constantly drip feed, but really bond someone to you in a hierarchy structure. Do you know how to soothe someone's feelings enough without being engulfed by it so that they can get back to being productive and they're actually happier than they were before? It's not placating, it's actually improving and making them resilient. Do you know how to make your corporate culture, your company culture, resilient against stress so that when you hit big projects, you actually perform better together instead of everything falling apart and now you're crumbling and you're on a deadline? If you can give yourself that test, if the answers are no to all of those, you definitely need to do this work for yourself and for your company. That's what you can do.
And then how do they open that door with themselves in that? Are there programs? Can they reach out to you?
I had a coaching client come in recently, and he wanted to revamp his entire company according to a more secure structure. Not feelings, but secure structure so that everyone would properly bond. He had to begin with his core personal relationships with the men in his life. Same-sex friendships had to start, and then he had to start trickling that into his romantic life. As he did that, he saw and felt the principles. Then he said, this is what everyone below me in the hierarchy needs to be feeling. Now I understand it. So then he could pick and choose the conversations he would have with people throughout that structure of, let me help you feel safe in our bonding. We talked about emotional relationships, emotional communication. I want you to feel safe in our company. What will help you do that? Well, these 3 things. Well, 2 of those are perfectly reasonable. Let's begin there. Let's do that, and let's really take care of you. Oh, thank you so much. That's how you really make people feel cared for in your company. You soothe their feelings. You give them a few things that you probably were going to give them anyway, and you watch their boost go up. And that's how this is the imaginary soft bonus that you give to people in your relationships and in your company that keeps them around. You have to give them a soft bonus, not just a hard bonus.
That's great. This is so fascinating. So one thing that you just said in there is you start with your personal relationships in working on your attachment,
right,
and then you bring that into your business. So let's talk about that a little.
If you are an avoidantly attached person, you've had high levels of cortisol, you're on the dopamine cortisol pathway. High levels of cortisol, you binge dopamine occasionally or tactically use it to bring your nervous system down, but you don't have really access to oxytocin, vasopressin, serotonin, or GABA. We've talked about these extensively in the previous episodes. Please watch them. They're helpful, but you're missing those 4 big brain chemicals or at very low levels of them. And if you don't have that, then you're trying to make people feel something you've never felt. You cannot do that. You cannot engineer that outcome if you don't even know the outcome you're trying to achieve. So you need to experience that a bit first in your personal life so you know what you're aiming for. You cannot show someone the color red and explain it to them without having seen the color red. So feel it first, experience it just a bit, and then learn how to engineer it so that people can feel it. And it's not manipulation, this is persuasion, and it is boosting your success as a leader. That is mandatory.
So we have just a few minutes left, but switching from that business to personal, as you said, you know, this massively successful business, yet on their 3rd divorce and $9 million prenup and all of this. So basically, at that point, when they're in this business space and we're looking at these relationships, how can we transition in? I mean, I know that feeling of being so solid in my professional space, and then I look at home and I think, That's kind of a mess. That's why it's easier to be in the business lane.
Yes.
So how do we help these people?
Well, recognize that you will not always be happy and successful in the business lane, because that eventually will fall apart too. Don't rest on that. And that's not me fear-mongering. I've seen it a million times. David Brooks has the book, The Second Mountain, about how the second mountain is coming. The personal life is going to be big. You must fix this. So learn to fix that, number one. Learn that it's important. Don't rest on it. And then number two, as you ease into those relationships in the personal life, learn who not to trust first. Learn who not to trust. Build your protective barrier first. Build that first, everything else will feel safer from there, and then you can begin selectively trusting the right people. Learn who not to trust. That's the key. Most avoidant people don't know who not to trust.
That's so interesting, because it seems like they don't trust anyone.
That's why they never trust anybody, is because they don't have the proper filtering system for who not to trust. So they can't trust anyone. So when you learn who not to trust, the proper filtering, a few people come through it successfully, and then you can bond with them.
Okay, and does that become pretty clear to them?
Absolutely.
Who to trust, who not
Very
to
fast.
trust?
One coaching session, and I can usually take care of that with most people, about an hour, and then they use that filtering process for the rest of their life. That is what you must do first.
Wow, I wish we had time to go through that too.
Maybe we'll do this again, and we'll come back.
Maybe we will, because we're down to our last minute. So we are on our last bit of time together, Adam. What is the last bit of advice you'd like to give our audience here?
If anything has resonated with you through this series, you can fix it. Do not feel like this is your astrology sign, it's the star you're born under, and you have to live this way forever. You don't. It is fixable, and you can fix it fairly fast. It is really how fast you want to go and the experiences you're willing to have. Boost it, fix it, make your life more secure. Everything improves.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you.
Will you please share with everyone how we can reach you?
Absolutely. One more time, I am Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. You can find me on adamlanesmith.com with my courses, my coaching, my community, my book. Everything is available there, and I'm on every social media platform. Just search Adam Lane Smith. I will be there. Reach out. Please don't hesitate. I am here to help.
Thank you again, Adam.
Thank you.
Thanks to Adam for this wonderful series on attachment styles. It's been really enlightening. I hope you've enjoyed it. Come back after these messages to join us with our next guest.